Biomes are large ecological communities of plants and animals that have formed in response to a particular climate. They differ in terms of climate, animals, plants, precipitation, elevation, and even salinity. The climate can be hot or cold, with lots of rain or little rain, and this in turn will impact the type of plant and animal you will find in the biome. As the climate changes, so do the types of animals and plants you will find there. The Earth has a huge variety of plants and animals, and it will change according to the climate, if it's hot, cold, rainy, or dry. Precipitation can take the form of rain, snow, sleet, hail. A biome can get lots of precipitation or barely any at all. Biomes can be found at high elevation or at sea level. The elevation impacts the climate, which in turn determines the type of plant or animal you will find. There are aquatic biomes. Some, like the ocean, have high salinities. And others, like freshwater, have a low salinity. You will find different plants and animals based on this salinity. A tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforests are found around the equator. This biome is known for rainfall, warm temperatures year-round, trees, and a huge diversity of living organisms. A tropical rainforest has trees, and more trees. These trees create a canopy on top of one another. The vegetation is so dense that little light reaches the forest floor. Many of the plants in a tropical rainforest are evergreens, not deciduous. Many of these trees have very large vines. Tropical soils are deep, but they are strongly leached, with large amounts of nutrients and minerals removed. This leaching causes the soil to lack many of the fundamental nutrients needed by the above-ground vegetation. So how does the huge amount of vegetation exist if the soils are so depleted of nutrients? The answer lies in a very thin topsoil, made up mainly of decaying plants and animal remains. An amazing cycle exists between the huge body of vegetation above ground and this thin topsoil. As you can see from this climograph, rainfall is very high in a tropical rainforest, and the temperature varies very little throughout the year. It rains often in the tropical rainforest. The rainforest has millions of different species of organisms. If you like insects, you will love the tropical rainforest. There are many different types of insects, such as the assassin bug, a bullet ant, a longhorn beetle, and this leaf mimic katydid. Rainforests are also home to an incredible diverse range of animals and plants. Animals such as this anteater, this boa constrictor, this eagle, lots of monkeys like this howler monkey, lemurs, and very interesting frogs like this dart frog. Competition at ground level for light and food has led to some interesting evolution of plants. Some rainforest plants live on the branches of other plants or trees, or even strangle large trees to fight for survival. An example of this are orchids. Orchids comprise one of the most abundant and varied flowering plant families. Orchids are especially common in moist tropical regions. Although temperate orchids usually grow in the soil, tropical orchids are more often epiphytes, which are plants that grow on trees or other plants, but are not parasites. Epiphytes take no nutrients from the tree itself, but instead relies on nutrients from the air, falling rain, and the compost that lies on the tree branches. So there we go, a quick look at the tropical rainforest. Rain, warm temperatures, lots of flowers, plants, and animals. Oh yes, some bugs also. A savanna is a grassland scattered with shrubs and isolated trees. You can think of a savanna as a mix between a forest and a temperate grassland. Not enough rain falls on the savanna to support a forest. Savannas are also known as a tropical grassland. They are found on either side of the equator on the edges of the tropical rainforest. Savannas have warm temperatures year-round. There are actually two different seasons in a savanna: a very long dry season in the winter and a very wet season in the summer. During the dry season, a savanna may receive only 4 inches of rain. During the wet season, it may rain often, and this biome may receive up to 25 inches of rainfall. The Serengeti Plains of Tanzania is a very well-known savanna. Here animals like lions, zebras, elephants, and giraffes are found. Many animals in the savanna have the ability to migrate in order to find new food sources. There are different types of grasses that exist, and this biome is known for the acacia tree and the baobab tree. Plants of the savanna have the ability to grow in this environment of long periods of drought. Many of these have long roots to reach the water table or thick bark to resist fires, along with trunks that can store water and even leaves that drop during the winter to conserve water. Fires are an important part of the savanna. During the dry season, fires clear out old grasses and make way for new growth. Most of the plants will survive because they have extensive root systems which allow them to grow back quickly after a fire. The temperate deciduous forest is a beautiful biome famous for 4 seasons and many trees that lose their leaves each winter. Take a look at the deciduous forest. Deciduous forests can be found in the eastern half of the United States, Canada, Europe, parts of Russia, China, Japan, and North and South Korea. Deciduous forests have very fertile soil. As a result, you will find broadleaf trees such as oaks, maples, dogwood trees, shrubs like rhododendrons, and mosses. You will also find a large variety of organisms: insects, spiders, slugs, frogs, turtles, and salamanders are common, along with birds like hawks, cardinals, owls, woodpeckers are also found in this biome. Mammals include white-tailed deer, raccoons, possums, black bears, and red foxes. If you take a look at the climograph for the deciduous forest, you will notice that this biome receives around 50 inches of rainfall a year and has warm summers and a moderate winter. A defining factor of this biome is 4 seasons. Take a look at the 4 seasons. The average annual temperature in the deciduous forest is 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Summers are between 70 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and winters range from 0 about the biome called desert. Although most people think of the Earth's deserts as wasteland, there is a large number of animals and plants that have adapted to the harsh conditions of a desert. In fact, 1/6 of the Earth's population live in desert regions. But what is a desert? Deserts cover more than 1/5 of the Earth's land, and they are found on every continent. A place that receives less than 10 inches or 25 centimeters of rain per year is considered a desert. If you take a look at this map of the Earth, you can locate areas that are deserts. The Sahara Desert is here. The Gobi Desert is found here. Arctic, polar, the Great Victorian, to name a few. Many deserts are dry and hot, but there are cold deserts as well. The Sahara Desert in northern Africa is the largest hot desert in the world and reaches temperatures up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius during the day. But some deserts are cold, like the Gobi Desert in Asia and the desert on the continent of Antarctica. Desert animals have adapted ways to help either keep them cool and use less water. For example, camels can go for days without food and water. Many desert animals are nocturnal, coming out to hunt only at night in order to avoid the sun. Some animals, like this tortoise, will spend much of their time underground in a burrow. Other desert animals have adaptations to help keep them warm and survive in cold temperatures. This polar bear has thick layers of fat and fur for insulation against the cold, and the white appearance is helpful for camouflage. The snowshoe hare has white fur in the winter and reddish-brown fur in the summer, which means it is camouflaged from its predators for most of the year. Desert plants may have to go without water for long periods of time. Several plants have adapted by growing long roots that reach the water table underground. Other plants, like cacti, conserve water in order to stay alive. Plants in cold deserts grow close to the ground and close together, which helps resist the effects of cold weather and to reduce damage caused by snow and ice particles driven by the cold winds. Some plants, like lichens, can survive on bare rock. Plants and animals in hot deserts have to survive extreme heat. Death Valley holds the record for the hottest temperature ever recorded at 134.06 degrees Fahrenheit. Plants and animals in cold deserts have to survive extreme cold. Average temperature of the Arctic polar desert is negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. The taiga is located in the north, but falls below the tundra. The taiga is also known as the coniferous forest or the boreal forest. This biome is the world's largest land biome, and it covers most of Canada, North America, and Alaska. It also covers most of Sweden, Finland, Norway, and parts of Russia. If you look at a climograph of the taiga, you will see that this biome has short, wet summers and long, cold winters. Precipitation is moderate in the taiga. It gets plenty of snow during the winter and adequate rainfall during the summer. The taiga has the lowest annual average temperature after the tundra, and it also contains permanent ice caps. The forests of the taiga are largely coniferous and contain spruce, fir, and pine trees. Coniferous trees keep their leaves throughout the winter and have needle-like leaves, and this is well suited for the harsh temperatures of the taiga. The taiga also supports a relatively small range of animals due to the harshness of the climate. The taiga is home to a number of large mammals, such as the moose, reindeer, and also some populations of deer. In addition, you may find gray wolf, a fox, brown bear, and occasionally a polar bear. Although the taiga has above average precipitation, the ground freezes during the winter months and the plant roots are unable to get water. The narrow needle-like structures found on the coniferous trees, or its needles, limit the water loss through transpiration, but also allow the plant or tree to practice photosynthesis. The shape of the evergreens also allows the snow to slide off the branches rather than pile up, which can cause the branches to snap off. Some other examples of plants found in the taiga include the lichens, which are low and adapted for wind and ice and can even grow on rocks, cotton grass, which can carry out photosynthesis at very low temperatures and low light, fireweed, which is a flower that can produce up to 80,000 seeds at one time. So there we go, the taiga video. I'd like to talk about two types of tundra, the Arctic tundra and the alpine tundra. The Arctic tundra is found in North America, Asia, and Europe, and circles the Arctic Ocean and stretches southward down to the taiga. The tundra is cold, and during the winter, the temperatures can drop to minus 20 or even 30 degrees Fahrenheit. In the short summer, temperatures may rise as high as 50 or 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and this allows for the tundra to have life. The frozen soil of the tundra is called permafrost and has a frozen top layer almost all year. Plants in the tundra have a short growing season and are generally small, short plants. Examples include lichen, moss, and some shrubs. There are not trees in the tundra. There are many animals found in the tundra, including lemming, Arctic fox, snowbirds, and a polar bear, along with grasshoppers and flies in the summer. They have adaptations to help them survive the cold. This may include a thick fur, or they may be white in color. The white color helps the animal blend in and helps prevent heat loss. The alpine tundra is a type of natural region or biome that does not contain trees because it is at a high elevation. As the latitude of a location approaches the poles, the elevation for the alpine tundra gets lower until it reaches sea level, and this tundra merges with the polar tundra. The alpine tundra is found above the tree line and also does not have any trees. Because of the higher elevation, the alpine tundra has a climate and rainfall similar to the Arctic tundra, cold and dry with a short growing season. Some common examples include the Himalayas, the Pyrenees, and the Rocky Mountains. The vegetation of the alpine tundra includes grasses, clumps of moss, and low-lying shrubs. Because the alpine tundra is located in various widely separated regions of the Earth, there are no animal species common to all areas of the alpine tundra. However, some animals that you may find include the mountain goat, chinchilla, and yak. So there we go, two types of tundra, the Arctic and the alpine tundra. To talk about an ecosystem called an estuary. An estuary is a body of water that has fresh water entering and is also open to the ocean. It is a semi-enclosed coastal body of water that is connected to the open ocean with fresh water draining into it. If you look at the state of Georgia, you can see the Savannah River runs through it. The Savannah River dumps into the Atlantic Ocean and creates an estuary. Here is what a small portion of this estuary looks like. Estuaries are known for their brackish water, which is a combination of salt and fresh water. Estuaries have been called the nurseries of the sea because of the many phytoplankton that are found there, help the food chain, and provide food for many organisms. In addition, they are a safe environment for fish, birds, and other wildlife to raise their young. Estuaries also help because they filter sediment and pollutants from the water, before it flows into the ocean. In addition, they buffer the ocean and the land, which helps decrease the effects of flooding and storm surges. Estuaries can be classified according to their geological features. The classifications include coastal plain estuaries, tectonic estuary, bar-built estuaries, and fjords. Coastal plain estuaries look like valleys with gentle sloping bottoms. Their depth increases towards the river's mouth. This type of estuary is known throughout the world. An example is Tampa Bay in the United States. Bar-built estuaries are formed when sandbars build up along the coastline and they partially cut off the waters behind them from the sea. Fjord estuaries are narrow and steep and are usually straight and long. They are found in areas that have been covered by glaciers. And finally, tectonic estuaries are created when the sea fills in a hole or basin that is formed from sinking land. San Francisco Bay is a good example. So there we go, estuaries, the nurseries of the world, places where fresh and salt water mix together. Let's take a look at freshwater biomes. The Earth has lots of water on it. However, only about 2.5% of it is freshwater. This freshwater can be broken down into several biomes, including ponds, lakes, streams, rivers, and wetlands. Plants and animals in these freshwater biomes are adapted to the low salt content of freshwater and are unable to survive in areas of high salt concentration. Salt water is 30 to 50 parts per thousand salt water, where freshwater is only 0.5 parts per thousand. Let's take a look at these freshwater biomes. Rivers and streams. The water in rivers and streams flow in one direction, beginning at the source called a headwater, and traveling to the mouth, where the flowing water empties into a larger body. The slope of the landscape determines the direction and speed of the water flow. When the slope is steep, water flows quickly. When it is not steep, the water slows down. The currents and turbulence of fast-moving rivers and streams prevents much accumulation of organic material in these fast-moving rivers. Lakes and ponds are inland bodies of water. They can be as small as a few square meters or as large as a couple thousand square miles. Some ponds might even be filled with water for only a few weeks or months each year, where some lakes have existed for hundreds of years. Wetlands are areas that are saturated with water either all year or for long periods of time. A marsh, swamp, fen, and bog are all considered wetlands. A marsh is known for the grass and reeds found in it. Swamps contain trees, and bogs and fens are peat-producing wetlands and are dominated by moss. In a marsh and swamp, you will find frogs, snakes, and gators. The world can be divided up into several different types of land biomes. Biomes are areas that have similar temperature and precipitation. A climograph is a helpful graph in which temperature and precipitation are found on the same graph. Welcome to MooMooMath and Science. In this video, let's look at the climographs of 7 major land biomes. The climographs we will look at will have temperature represented as a line graph, and the units are on the left in Celsius, and precipitation is represented by a bar graph, and the units are in millimeters on the right. If you are unfamiliar with Celsius, you can get an estimation of Fahrenheit by doubling Celsius and then adding 32. It takes 25.4 millimeters to equal an inch. Up first, a desert. A desert is defined as an area receiving 25 centimeters of rainfall or less a year. By looking at the climograph, you will notice this desert receives a tiny bit of rainfall during the year. Deserts can be cold, but this desert is hot and dry. Next, the grassland of North America. This biome receives limited rainfall in the winter and a fair amount in the summer. The line graph tells a story of 4 seasons. Winters begin in December and go through late March, and then it begins to warm up with spring in April. the spring is followed by a warm to hot summer during June, July, and August, and then fall begins in late September, and soon you're back to winter. The savanna has steady temperatures that fall between warm and hot. There's far less temperature variation compared to the grassland. Also notice that the savanna has a wet and dry season. The rainforest has two distinct patterns: little variation in temperature month to month, and heavy rainfall between 150 and 175 centimeters per month, not year, per month. This is over 6 times the amount a desert receives in an entire year. The temperature graph looks almost like a straight line with very little variation. Next, the deciduous forest. Its climate graph shows 4 seasons. The winters aren't extremely cold, and they start in December and continue through March, followed by spring in April and May. Summer is warm to hot and peaks in July. Then fall starts in late September. The taiga, also known as the coniferous forest, is similar to the deciduous forest in terms of rainfall, but the winter temperatures are colder and the summers are cooler. Winters may start as early as November and continue through April. Spring is short and the taiga doesn't warm up until May. Summer is between June, July, and August, but still only warms up to 10 to 18 degrees Celsius. Fall is short in September and October, then back to winter. Tundra has limited rainfall, almost looks like a desert, and it's much less than the taiga. The temperatures are similar to the taiga, but colder winters and slightly cooler summers. Thanks for watching about climographs, and MooMooMath uploads a new math and science video every day. Please subscribe and share.